The complete life story of Thomas Alva Edison. A boy who could not read until he was 12 years old invented the light bulb that changed the world forever. A man who was told he was too stupid to learn anything became the greatest inventor in human history. This is the true story of Thomas Alva Edison. Wait, what? Yes, you heard that right. The man who gave us electric light, the phonograph and the movie camera was once called confused and stupid by his teachers. They said he would never achieve anything in life. But you will discover something even more shocking today. You will learn about the 1000 failures he faced before creating the light bulb. You will hear about the fire that destroyed his entire life's work in one night. And you will find out the one habit that nobody talks about, the habit that made him different from everyone else. Why must you watch this complete video? Because by the end, you will not just know Edison's story, you will learn exactly how to turn your own failures into success. You will understand how to keep going when everyone says you should quit. We make these videos after deep research, spending hours finding rare facts and untold stories. We explain everything in simple English so you learn real lessons plus improve your language skills. And if you don't want to miss more amazing videos like this, then do subscribe. Most videos only show the success, but today you will hear the complete truth. The failures, the tears, the doubts, the mistakes, because that is where the real lessons are. Let's begin this incredible journey. Section 1. Humble Beginnings and Early Life. Thomas Alva Edison was born on February 11, 1847 in a small town called Milan, Ohio. His house was simple. His family had very little money. His father sold wood and food to earn money. His mother, Nancy, was a school teacher before marriage. Young Edison was different from other children. Very different. He asked questions all the time. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds fly? How does fire burn? Why? His parents called him Al. Little Al never stopped asking questions. But there was a problem, a big problem. Edison got sick many times as a child. He had ear infections that made him almost deaf. He could not hear properly. In school, this became a nightmare. Picture this scene. A small classroom in 1854. 7-year-old Edison sits at the back. The teacher is talking, but Edison cannot hear clearly. He asked the teacher to repeat. Again and again, the teacher gets angry. One day, Edison came home crying. His mother asked, "What happened, Al?" Edison said, "The teacher called me confused. He said my brain is adult. He said I cannot learn anything." His mother was shocked. She went to the school the next day. She had a big argument with the teacher. Then she made a decision that changed history. She said, "I will teach my son at home. He will never go back to your school." Can you imagine? A mother fighting the whole world for her child. This is powerful. Nancy Edison became young Al's teacher. She taught him at home, but she taught him differently. She did not force him to memorize boring facts. Instead, she let him explore. She let him ask questions. She let him experiment. She gave him his first science book when he was 9 years old. The book was called School of Natural Philosophy. It had experiments in it. Edison was amazed. He tried every single experiment in that book. Think about this. Most children hated studying, but Edison loved it because his mother made learning fun. She showed him that learning is not about memorizing. Learning is about discovering. Edison set up his first laboratory in the basement of his house. He was only 10 years old. He collected bottles, wires, and chemicals. His mother gave him pocket money to buy materials. He spent every free minute doing experiments. His father was not happy. He said, "Al is wasting time. He should work and earn money." But his mother protected him. She said, "Let him explore. He is learning." One day, Edison mixed some chemicals in the basement. There was a small explosion. Smoke filled the house. His father was very angry. He wanted to stop all experiments. But again, Nancy Edison stood up for her son. She made a deal. She said Edison could continue experiments, but he must be more careful. What this teaches us: never let anyone tell you that you cannot learn. Edison's teacher said he was too stupid, but his mother believed in him, and that belief changed everything. In your life, this means you must find people who believe in you. Stay away from people who say you will fail. Surround yourself with people who support your dreams. Try this. Write down 3 things you want to learn. Not things you must study for exams, things you really want to know about. Then spend just 15 minutes every day exploring those things, just like young Edison did. At age 12, Edison needed to earn money. His family was struggling, so he got a job selling newspapers and candy on cranes. He worked on the train that went from Port Huron to Detroit. But here is what is amazing. He did not just sell newspapers, he printed his own newspaper on the grain. Yes, at age 12, he created a newspaper called the Weekly Herald. He printed it, wrote it, and sold it himself. He also set up a small laboratory in the baggage car of the train. Between stations, he did experiments. One day, a chemical bottle fell and started a fire in the train. The conductor was furious. He threw Edison and all his equipment off the train. Young Edison sat on the platform with his broken bottles and equipment around him. He was crying. But did he quit? No, never. He continued doing experiments at home. He continued learning. He continued dreaming. If this story is touching your heart, hit that subscribe button now, because Edison's real struggles are just beginning. Section 2. Struggles and Learning Years. At age 15, Edison learned about the telegraph. The telegraph was a machine that sent messages using electric signals. This was the internet of the 1860s. Edison became fascinated. He wanted to learn everything about telegraphy. But how could a poor boy with no proper education learn this skill? Here is what he did. He went to the station master and made a deal. He said, "Teach me telegraphy and I will work for free." The station master agreed. Edison learned fast, very fast. Within a few months, he became a telegraph operator. But Edison was still different from others. He could not just do a simple job. His mind was always creating, always improving, always inventing. While other telegraph operators just sent messages, Edison was thinking about how to make the telegraph better, how to send messages faster, how to send multiple messages on one wire. From 1863 to 1867, Edison worked as a traveling telegraph operator. He moved from city to city, Cincinnati, Memphis, Louisville, Boston. He lived in cheap rooms. He ate simple food. He saved every penny he could save. But here is something nobody talks about. Edison developed a habit during these years that made him a genius. Listen to this carefully. While other workers slept at night, Edison read. He read everything. Science books, technical manuals, patents, anything he could find. He slept only 4 hours every night. The rest of the time he was either working or learning. His co-workers thought he was crazy. They said, "Al, why don't you sleep? Why don't you have fun?"
Edison replied, "This is my fun. Learning is my fun." Think about that. Learning was his entertainment. But life was not easy. Not at all. In 1867, Edison was working in Louisville. His boss found him reading during work hours. Edison had modified the telegraph machine to ring a bell every hour so he could take short naps. His boss caught him sleeping. He was fired immediately. Edison was embarrassed. He was ashamed. He took the next train to his family home. He had no money, no job, no future, it seemed. His father looked at him and said, "I told you, all this experimenting is useless. Get a real job. Stop dreaming." Those words hurt Edison deeply, very deeply. Have you ever had someone close to you say your dreams are useless? That pain, that doubt, Edison felt it too. But here is the thing. That pain did not stop him. It pushed him. Edison decided to move to Boston. He got another telegraph job there. But more importantly, he decided to become a full-time inventor. In 1868, at age 21, Edison created his first patented invention. It was an electric vote recorder for government meetings. He was so excited. He thought this would make him rich.
He demonstrated his machine to the government officials in Washington. The machine worked perfectly. It counted votes instantly and accurately. Edison waited for their response with hope in his eyes. The officials looked at each other. Then one of them said, "Young man, this is impressive, but we don't want it." Edison was confused. "Why not? It works perfectly." The official explained, "We don't want voting to be too fast. Sometimes we need time to convince people to change their votes." Edison's heart broke. He had spent months creating this machine. He had used all his savings, and nobody wanted it. He walked out of that building feeling completely defeated. It was raining outside. He had no hotel for that night. He slept on a bench that night. But on that cold, wet bench, Edison made a decision that changed his entire approach to inventing. He said to himself, "I will never again invent something that people don't want. I will only create things that people need and will pay for." What this teaches us: success is not just about creating something amazing. Success is about creating something people actually need. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you are not solving real problems, you will fail. Try this. Before starting any project or business, ask 3 people, "Would you actually pay money for this?" If they say no, ask them, "What would you pay for instead?" Listen to real people, not just your own ideas. Edison moved to New York in 1869. He had 40 cents in his pocket. That was all the money he had in the world. He was so hungry that he could not think straight. He walked into a tea import business and asked for food. The owner felt sorry for him and gave him tea and bread. While Edison was eating, the company's telegraph machine broke down. The whole business stopped. The owner was panicking. He was losing money every minute. Edison looked at the machine. He asked, "Can I try to fix it?" The owner said, "If you can fix it, I will give you anything." Edison studied the machine for a few minutes. Then he took out his tools and started working. Within an hour, the machine was working perfectly. The owner was amazed. He asked Edison, "Where did you learn this?" Edison smiled and said, "I have been learning all my life." The owner offered Edison a job right there. $300 a month. For someone who had 40 cents, this was a fortune. But Edison worked there for a short time because he had bigger dreams, much bigger dreams. Section 3. Failures, Rejections, and Dark Times. In 1870, Edison started his own company in Newark, New Jersey. He was 23 years old. He was finally going to be his own boss. He was going to invent things and sell them. His first major contract was to improve the stock ticker machine. This machine printed stock market prices for businesses. Edison made it better and faster. He delivered his improved machines to the company. He was nervous. He had spent months on this project. The businessman asked, "How much do you want for this?" Edison had been thinking about this moment for days. He wanted to ask for $5,000, but he was scared. What if they said no? What if they thought it was too much? So Edison said, "You make me an offer." The businessman thought for a moment. Then he said, "How about $40,000? Edison almost fainted. He had been ready to accept $5,000 and they offered $40,000. He said yes immediately. This was his first big success. his first real money. Edison used that money to build a bigger laboratory. He hired the best mechanics and scientists. He was creating multiple inventions at the same time. From 1870 to 1875, Edison worked like a machine himself. He created improved telegraph systems. He invented the quadruplex telegraph that could send 4 messages on one wire at the same time. He was becoming famous in the business world. In 1871, Edison married Mary Stilwell. She was only 16 years old. Edison was 24 years old. They had 3 children together. But here is a sad truth that nobody talks about. Edison was a terrible husband and father during those early years. He spent all his time in the laboratory, days and nights. He forgot to come home. He forgot birthdays. He forgot anniversaries. Mary would wait for him with dinner. The food would get cold. She would eventually eat alone and go to sleep crying. One night, Mary came to the laboratory at 3 a.m. Edison was working. She said, "Al, our daughter is sick. Don't you care?" Edison looked up surprised. He had forgotten that his daughter was ill. He said, "Mary, I am doing this for our future. Just a little more time." But that little more time never ended. Work always came first. Can you see this? Even successful people make mistakes. Even great men fail at important things. Edison was brilliant at inventing, but he was failing at family. What this teaches us: success in one area does not mean success in all areas. You can build an empire but lose your family. You can win the world but lose yourself. Balance is not easy, but balance is necessary. Try this. Make a list of all the important areas of your life: family, health, work, friends, personal growth. Ask yourself honestly, which areas am I ignoring? Then spend just 1 hour this week on the most ignored area. In 1875, Edison moved his laboratory to Menlo Park, New Jersey. This became the world's first industrial research laboratory. He hired over 60 workers, engineers, scientists, mechanics, all working together. He called it his invention factory. His goal was to create a minor invention every 10 days and a big invention every 6 months. This was revolutionary. Nobody had ever created a place just for inventing. But with big dreams come big problems. In 1877, Edison announced that he would invent the electric light bulb. At that time, people used gas lamps or candles for light. Gas lamps were dangerous. They caused fires, they created smoke, they smelled bad.
Edison said he would create a light bulb that was safe, bright, and affordable. Everyone got excited. Investors gave Edison money. Newspapers wrote big stories. The gas company stocks crashed because everyone thought Edison would succeed quickly. But Edison had no idea how difficult this would be. He needed to find the right material for the filament inside the bulb. The filament is the part that glows when electricity passes through it. He tried platinum. It did not work. He tried different metals. They did not work. He tried thousands of different materials. Nothing worked. Months passed. Then a year passed. Then 2 years passed. The newspapers that had praised him now mocked him. They wrote, "Edison is a fraud. He cannot do it. He wasted everyone's money." Investors started demanding their money back. Edison's reputation was being destroyed. His workers were exhausted.
Some of them quit. They said, "This is impossible. We should stop." But Edison refused to quit. One journalist asked him, "You have failed 1,000 times. Why don't you give up?" Edison looked at him and said something that became legendary. He said, "I have not failed 1,000 times. I have successfully discovered 1,000 ways that don't work." Think about that. He changed failure into learning. But inside, Edison was suffering. He was doubting himself. Late at night, alone in his laboratory, he would sometimes sit with his head in his hands, wondering if he was chasing an impossible dream. He wrote in his diary, "I am exhausted, but I cannot stop. If I stop, I prove everyone right. I prove that I am a failure." Have you ever felt like this? You have worked so hard, but nothing is working. Everyone is doubting you. You are doubting yourself? Edison felt exactly this way. If this story is inspiring you, show your support by hitting the like button. It helps us bring more stories like this to you. Section 4. Breakthrough and Major Success. October 21st, 1879. This date changed the world forever. After testing more than 3,000 different materials, after failing again and again and again, Edison and his team tried carbonized cotton thread as the filament. They carefully placed it inside the glass bulb. They created a vacuum inside. They connected the electricity. The entire team held their breath. The filament started glowing. It was working. But would it last? Previous attempts had burnt out in seconds or minutes. 1 hour passed. The bulb was still glowing. 2 hours. 5 hours. 10 hours. Edison refused to leave the laboratory. He watched that bulb like a father watching his newborn child. 14 hours. 20 hours. His workers were amazed. They started celebrating. But Edison said, "Wait, let's see how long it lasts." Finally, after 40 hours, the bulb stopped glowing. Edison smiled. He had done it. He had created a practical, long-lasting electric light bulb. But here is what most people don't know. The first successful light bulb was not the end. It was just the beginning. Making one light bulb in a laboratory is one thing. Creating a whole system to light up homes and cities is completely different. Edison needed to create power stations, electric wires, switches, sockets, meters, everything. The entire electrical infrastructure had to be invented. And Edison did all of it. He spent the next 3 years creating the complete electric lighting system. He built the first commercial power station on Pearl Street in New York City. On September 4, 1882, Edison switched on the power. 59 buildings in Lower Manhattan lit up with electric lights for the first time. People ran out into the streets. They were crying with joy. They had never seen anything so beautiful. The night turned into day. One old woman said, "God has come to earth." Edison stood on the street, watching the lights. Tears rolled down his cheeks. After years of failure, mockery and doubt, he had done it. The boy who was called too stupid to learn had just changed human history. What this teaches us? The difference between failure and success is often just one more attempt, one more try, one more effort. Edison tried 3,000 times. Most people quit after 3 attempts. What if he had quit at attempt 2,999?
the world would still be living in darkness. Try this. Think of something you quit because it was too hard. Maybe learning a skill, starting a business, or pursuing a dream. Ask yourself honestly, did I really try everything, or did I quit too soon? Then make a decision. Either accept that you quit and move on, or go back and try again with new knowledge and new energy. After the success of the light bulb, Edison's life changed completely. Money flowed in. His company, Edison Electric Light Company, became huge. He was rich. He was famous. He was respected. But Edison did not stop inventing. From 1880 to 1990, Edison created hundreds of new inventions. He improved the telephone. He created the motion picture camera. He invented the alkaline battery. He created new ways to record sound. His laboratory in Menlo Park had 1,093 patents. Think about that number. One person, 1,093 inventions. But success also brought new problems. Other inventors tried to copy his work. Legal battles started. Edison spent years in courts fighting for his patents. It was exhausting. In 1884, something terrible happened. Edison's wife, Mary, died. She was only 29 years old. The cause of death was listed as typhoid fever, but some believe it was stress and sadness from years of neglect. Edison was devastated. He realized too late that he had sacrificed his family for his work. He wrote in his diary, "I've lost the only woman I truly loved, and I was not there for her when she needed me." This is powerful. Success without love is empty. Achievement without relationships is lonely. Edison later married again. His second wife was Mina Miller. He learned from his mistakes and was a better husband to her. In 1887, Edison built a much larger laboratory in West Orange, New Jersey. This became his main workplace for the rest of his life. But in 1914, disaster struck again. On December 9, 1914, a massive fire broke out in Edison's laboratory. The buildings were made of wood. Many contained chemicals. The fire spread rapidly. Edison's son Charles ran to find his father. He found Edison standing outside, watching his life's work burn. Charles expected his father to be crying, to be destroyed, but Edison was calm. Edison said to Charles, "Go get your mother. Tell her to bring her friends. They will never see a fire like this again." Charles was shocked. "Father, your whole life's work is burning." Edison replied, "All our mistakes are burning up. Tomorrow we start fresh. Isn't that wonderful?" Can you imagine? 67 years old, watching everything burn and still staying positive? The fire destroyed millions of dollars worth of equipment and buildings. Edison had only partial insurance. But the very next morning, Edison gathered his workers. He said, "Rebuilding starts now. Hire more people. Work faster. We have lost time to make up." Within 3 weeks, parts of the laboratory were working again. Within a year, it was completely rebuilt. What this teaches us? Your attitude towards problems determines your future.
Edison could have quit at 67. He could have said, "I am too old. I have lost too much." Instead, he said, "We start fresh." When disaster comes, you have two choices: cry about what you lost, or rebuild with what you have left. Try this. Think about a recent setback you faced. Write down 3 lessons you learned from it. Then write down 3 actions you will take to move forward. Remember,
Edison saw the fire as burning away mistakes, not destroying dreams. Section 5. Legacy, Impact, and Life Philosophy. Edison continued inventing until his last days. Even in his 70s and 80s, he was working in his laboratory. He created the first talking doll. He improved cement production. He developed better batteries for electric cars. Yes, Edison was working on electric cars more than 100 years ago. During World War I, the US government asked Edison to develop military technology. He created underwater weapons and defensive devices. But Edison's greatest legacy was not just his inventions. It was how he changed the way people think about work and creativity. Before Edison, inventors worked alone in secret. Edison created the team approach. He showed that innovation happens better when talented people work together. He also changed how people viewed failure. Before Edison, failure was shameful. Edison made failure respectable. He made it part of the process. Young inventors from around the world came to meet Edison. They asked him, "How do you come up with so many ideas?" Edison replied, "I don't wait for ideas to come to me. I go out and find them. I read, I experiment, I talk to people, I observe. Ideas don't fall from the sky. You have to hunt them." Another young inventor asked, "How do you stay motivated when things don't work?" Edison said something beautiful. He said, "I never think about failing. I only think about solving problems. If this way doesn't work, I try another way. If that doesn't work, I try another. I keep going until I find the way that works." It's that simple. Simple, but not easy. Now I want to ask you, what lesson from Edison's life will you apply today? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single comment. Edison's work habits were extraordinary. Let me tell you something nobody talks about. Edison typically slept only 3 to 4 hours at night, but he took short naps during the day. He would sit in his chair, holding metal balls in his hands. When he fell asleep, the balls would drop and wake him up. He believed these short naps refreshed his mind. He worked 16 to 18 hours every day, even on holidays, even on his birthday. His workers said Edison had incredible focus. When he was working on a problem, he forgot about everything else: food, time, tiredness, everything.
Once, a worker brought him lunch. Edison ate it while staring at an experiment. An hour later, another worker brought lunch. Edison ate that too. He had completely forgotten that he already ate. His mind was completely absorbed in his work. But here is an important truth. Edison's intense work habit also hurt his health and relationships. This is not something to copy blindly. Balance is important. Edison sacrificed a lot for his success. You must decide what you are willing to sacrifice and what you are not. What this teaches us: dedication and hard work are essential for great success, but they must be balanced with health and relationships. Work hard, yes, but also take care of your body. Also, spend time with loved ones. Success means nothing if you are sick and alone. In his later years, Edison became friends with Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone. These three successful men would take road trips together. They called themselves the Vagabonds. This friendship gave Edison something he had missed for most of his life: companionship, joy, relaxation. He finally learned to enjoy life, not just work. Edison's health began declining in the late 1920s. He had diabetes and other complications, but he refused to fully retire. On October 18, 1931, Thomas Alva Edison died at his home in West Orange. He was 84 years old. He was surrounded by his family. His last words were, "It is very beautiful over there."
Nobody knows what he meant. Perhaps he was seeing something beyond this life, or perhaps he was reflecting on his journey. When Edison died, millions of people mourned. President Herbert Hoover asked Americans to turn off their electric lights for 1 minute in tribute to Edison. On the evening of Edison's funeral, millions of lights went dark across America. For 1 minute, the whole country returned to darkness to honor the man who had given them light. Think about that. The whole country went dark to remember the man who lit it up. Edison's impact on the modern world is impossible to measure. Electric light, recorded sound, movies, improved communication, these inventions changed everything. Today, every time you turn on a light switch, you are using Edison's invention. Every time you watch a movie, you are experiencing his vision. Every time you charge your phone with batteries, you are benefiting from his work. But Edison's greatest gift to humanity was not his inventions, it was his philosophy. He taught us that genius is not born, it is made through hard work. He proved that failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. He showed us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things if they refuse to quit. What this teaches us: your legacy is not what you achieve. Your legacy is how you inspire others to achieve. Edison did not just create inventions, he created a mindset. He gave people permission to fail, to try again, to dream big, to work hard. That mindset has inspired millions of inventors, entrepreneurs, and dreamers for over 100 years. Try this. Ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? Not your job title, not your salary, but your impact. What difference do you want to make? Then take one small step today toward that legacy. Remember at the start, I told you about a boy who could not read until he was 12, a boy teachers called too stupid to learn? Now you know the complete story behind it. That boy became the greatest inventor in history because he had 3 things: a mother who believed in him, a mind that never stopped learning, and a spirit that never quit. Edison faced poverty, he faced deafness, he faced mockery, he faced failure after failure after failure. He lost his laboratory to fire. He lost his wife. He lost money. He lost respect at times. But he never lost hope. He never lost his determination. He never lost his curiosity. And that made all the difference. Edison once said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." Let that sink in. You are closer to your breakthrough than you think. That next attempt might be the one that works. That next try might be your moment. Your story is being written right now, today, this moment. Will you quit when people doubt you? Or will you prove them wrong like Edison did? Will you stop after a few failures? Or will you keep going like Edison did? Will you give up on your dreams? Or will you fight for them like Edison did? The choice is yours. From a deaf boy who could not go to school to the man who lit up the world, this is what is possible when you never stop believing. This is what happens when you turn failures into lessons. This is the power of never giving up. Your light is waiting to shine. What will you do today to make it happen? If this inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear this story. Subscribe for more true stories that change lives and improve English. Your breakthrough is coming. Keep going.